Customer dropped this window off this morning on his way to Florida. It goes in a 2004 Monaco Signature Series. In our correspondence over the last few weeks, figuring the best way to help this customer out, he had told me that the glass was cracked. It wasn't fogged up. These are factory double pane units when they're from the factory. But he said it was cracked. Now, tempered glass doesn't crack, it shatters. And laminate glass can crack, but it's got that plastic inner layer, so it's not going anywhere. It's not going to hurt anybody. This has a bead of silicone around it on the outside and the inside. So they're not using the factory 7/16 glazing that goes around the glass unit. So what someone had done here is taken a piece of 1/8" green plate, cut it to size, glued it in. Plate glass is not allowed in vehicles at all. It's got to be safety glass. Because if something were to have bounced off the road, hit this window, there would have been a lot of little pieces, and some big pieces maybe, of very, very sharp plate glass, which could have really injured the driver and, the person in the co-captain's chair. Or if this had broken out from the inside, it could have endangered somebody on the road. God forbid they're in a convertible or a motorcycle or something. That's why plate glass isn't allowed on vehicles. So they had just siliconed it from the outside and the inside, and then where the rest of the channel is supposed to be, they just found some pieces of trim or something to shove in there to, take care of that gap there. But they did this with the front stationary glass unit and the rear upper stationary glass unit. So we're going to put laminate glass in here. We're going to get some new gasket for them. We're going to put it back together the way it was intended to be. However, with the laminate glass, yes, it's still susceptible to cracking, but it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to stay together. It's the same as your windshield glass. We don't pretend to be the only game in town that does RV glass replacement, but just know who you're working with beforehand. Glass is not something that people are typically, fluent with. Most people know you're supposed to have safety glass in your vehicle windows, but that's about as far as it goes. And this would have been very easy to disguise from the shop who did this because, no one knew anything until it broke. Luckily, it was a crack that ran from leg to leg here, but if it had been another situation where something had impaled the window in or out, there would have been a lot of sharp pieces of glass everywhere. This 1/8" glass is some of the most dangerous stuff. We deal with it a lot. We always wear protective sleeves and gloves when we're handling the raw glass before it's sanded down. There's reasons for that, because this stuff can get away from you pretty quick. This gentleman was fortunate enough to where this was the only thing that happened with this window. But just be careful out there and know who you're hiring to work on your coach.